Hello! I use Neovim to write most of my code, and I use GitHub Copilot within Neovim, which uses language models for really powerful autocomplete. But I want to use language models to do more things, to do harder, more powerful things. And so I wrote a Neovim plugin called butterfish.nvim, which helps you fluently use language models within Neovim to edit your code. So this is a quick little demo to show some of the commands in this plugin. And I'll open a new code file and show you what it can do. So I'm going to open Neovim, and this is running the butterfish.nvim plugin. So first thing I'm going to show is the file prompt command, which I'm going to ask basically for arbitrary code generation. So I'm going to ask for give me a Fibonacci function that is recursive. So this is going to use GPT-4 to generate code from within Neovim, and you'll see it streaming into the buffer, and this is great. I'm going to use the comment command next. So this is basically just a single key press, and it'll add a comment immediately above. So that's useful. So I added a comment above this line. But actually what I want is something more detailed. And so I'm going to select this entire function, and I'm going to use the explain command. And this is going to prompt for a more in-depth explanation of this code. So you can see this is with much greater detail explaining what's happening and what the Fibonacci sequence is, etc. But I have a more specific question. I want to ask how efficient is this? And so for that I'm going to use the question command. So you'll see I'm asking how efficient is this function? It's popping up an answer within the buffer. And yep, it's explaining that it's not very efficient. So that's useful. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit, and then I'll rewrite this to be more efficient. So I'll just use the rewrite command and say make this more efficient, and it'll comment out the existing code, and yep, it's going to add an iterative function rather than recursive. So this is generating code using GPT-4 again. Okay, that's great, but we probably want to test to make sure that this is correct. So I'll just add a main function, and what I'm going to say is I'll have an expected sequence, and there's the sequence, and then check the expected values. Okay, and then I'm going to use the implement function, which is kind of like supercharged autocomplete. It's basically going to say, given the code above this line, implement the rest of it. So we'll see what we get here. And yep, that looks like a pretty good testing function. And I want to show one more thing, which is the language server fix functionality. So let's say this line had an error on it, and you'll see the error is popped up on the right, and I'm just going to highlight this line, or go to this line, and use the fix command, and it'll comment out the existing line and attempt to fix it. And it did. Yep. So those were a few commands for the Butterfish plugin, and what you saw was effectively using a language model to write and edit code within Neovim in a way that I think is really fluent. So you can ask for code, you can highlight code, and ask for explanation, ask for rewrites, etc. So I found this useful for myself. I hope it'll be useful for others. So please give it a try and send me feedback.